Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video I'll be showing you how I made this lovely milkmaid dress with ties in front. I honestly can't wait till I can wear this out. So let's get started. So for this dress I'm using my Natalie Bray bodice pattern. I have a video on my channel showing how to draft this, so if you're interested I'll link it above and below. I've extended my shoulder dart and waist dart to my true bust line, and I also eliminated the excess ease on the waist point and came in by ½ inch on the side seam as so. And now I'm just going ahead to draw my bust radius, after which I'm going in to double my shoulder dart. So this is to eliminate the excess ease above the bust. And now I'm going ahead to measure 3/8 inches on both sides of my waist dart and connect it to my waist as so. So next I'm going to connect that center front point to the under bust point, as you guys can see me doing here, and after which I'm going up by 1 inch on that dart point and then connecting it to my side seam. So this depends on you, you don't have to go 1 inch, you can just draw from the circle. And now I'm also going 1 inch above the other part of the dart point and connecting it to my center front. So now I'm just closing it to make sure that it matches, which it does. I'm happy with it. So next I went in to create like a slight V, as you guys can see, and this was a good idea, but then I decided to make it even deeper. So I went in by 1 inch from the center front and then we drew that slight V, which was not such a good idea but more to come later. So now I'm just going ahead to draw out the cup in blue so you guys can see clearly. Then I went down 3 inches by the side seam and I'm connecting that to the other part of my under bust, as you guys can see me doing here. And I'm just redrawing the cup in blue and going ahead to label it. So that is the side and that is the center front. Now I'm going in to cut out my cup and also just cut out the excess ease I don't need from my pattern. So there I have my cup. I'll go ahead and create another one. So I'll leave one as is and use basically just slash the other one to create the volume that I want for the outer part of my cup. And now I'm just going ahead to slash it. We'll do the usual slash and spread method. I'm sure we're used to this. I'm just rolling that middle line to serve as a guide so everything aligns properly. So I started by adding 1 inch between each dart line and extended it to 1½ inch as I moved towards the center front. So that's it for the front. Now I'll go ahead and work on the back. I'm going in to draw my horizontal balance line, and now I'm just going ahead to redraw my waist dart and connecting it to that horizontal balance line that I just marked. So now I'm coming in ½ inch on the side seam just like I had done for the front and connecting it to my waistline, and I'm just going in now to draw a new back, making it slightly low. So that's all you need to do for the back, and the back is ready. So I have all my patterns. I'm using this Adire fabric, really lovely, and I went ahead and cut my fabric and I just fused interfacing on the upper part because I wanted the waist area to have a little structure. So I'm making the bottom part straight, but I still wanted the waist to be, you know, a little bit fitted. So now I'm just going ahead to transfer my darts from my pattern to my fabric, and I'm just doing that for all the necessary parts. Now I'm going into sew my darts. So that's going to be the inner part of the garment. Basically I will attach that, the proper cup, the part that we're not gathering, to the lining. So this would also help me when it's time to gather the outer part. You know, I have like a guide. So here I have the outer part, and I'll just go ahead and sew a basting stitch along the lower part to that center front line, and then sew along the upper part as well from that point I pointed to the other part. So I'll go ahead and do this, and you guys can see I'm just sewing the basting stitch, after which I will go on to gather it. So it's gathering time. That's what I'm doing here, and I'm just going to gather it till I'm satisfied and then use that inner cup as a guide to just check that it's gathered to the appropriate length. And now I'm going in to pin it down to the cup part, so the curved part. You guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm just pinning it down right sides together and just smoothing it over and making sure the gathers spread as I want. And now I'll go ahead and sew it, and I'm basically going to do the same thing for the inner part as well. Pin the cup to the lining and sew that curved part together. So for this, just take your time. You're sewing two opposite curves. It can be a little tricky. So this is the inner part all done, and it looked a lot like a nightgown, but now I'm going ahead to also sew the outer part. So yeah, I had not done that, sorry. So that's the outer part now, all done. I really liked how it was looking so far. So now I'm just going ahead to sew the darts at the back as well as the inner lining, the back lining. So now from the lower part of the back, I'm just going to mark about 10 inches above and mark out my center back allowance that I left, and just go ahead and join that all down, because this isn't going to have a slit. So I'm just going to join it all down, and then the upper part will be for the zipper. So now I'm going ahead to pin right sides together of the main garment, back and front, and then I will go in to sew it down. So next I'm going in to attach the zipper, so just pinning it down. Remember, I left that upper part open, so yeah, that's why I left it open for our zipper. So I'm just pinning it all down before taking it to my sewing machine to sew. So don't forget to chain to your zipper foot, it makes your life a lot easier. So the zip is all done now. Next, you want to place right sides together of the inner part. So basically everything I did for the outer part, I did for the inner part. Join the side seam and join the center back. So now I'm just going to place right sides together, making sure my seams are aligned, as you guys can see me doing here, and just pin everything down. So at this point, you should ideally have your ropes prepared, the ropes that you tie in front, and sandwich it in between the front and the back before joining it. But I did not do that, so yeah, I'm just telling you guys, but you guys will see what I did at the end. But yeah, do as I say, not as I do, guys. So just pin everything down, pin the center front, make sure everything aligns. I'm just taking my time so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing, and after which I'm going in to sew everything down. So now once you're done, you want to trim the seam, and then trim it. And next I'm going to go in and just snip my seams down, so it lays nice and flat when I eventually turn this wrong sides together. So that's what it's looking like so far. So it's looking good. I'm really proud of myself, guys. So now I'm just going to go ahead and grab the lower part from the inside like this. You guys can see what I'm doing, and just sew right sides together. So just pin it down, pin all your seams in place, center back to center back, side to side, front to front. Yeah, just pin it down before taking to your sewing machine to sew. So when all was said and done, I took it to my sewing machine and sewed it down. Okay, why am I so happy? Anyway, here we are. This is what it's looking like so far. Honestly, I'm really happy. I actually like the slightly A-line silhouette. It looked flattering, I think. I hope. What do you guys think? So now when I joined the side seam, I left like a space in between one side seam, but more to that later. I'm just going ahead now to turn my garment again, right sides together, and I'm going to go in now to join the basically right sides together of the center back, as you guys can see me doing here. I'm just pinning it down. So again, when I take it to my sewing machine, it's a breeze. Pinning honestly makes my life a lot easier. So basically, just to recap, I pinned center back to center back, right sides together, and then took it to my sewing machine to sew it down. And for this, you only need to cover the zipper, so you don't need to sew like all the way down. So remember that vent I said I left? Through that, I'm going to turn my garment right sides out again, so this is why that vent was very important. So yeah, you may want to leave a bigger vent because I struggled a bit, but yeah, the end justifies the means. So now I'm going to go ahead and close that vent, or basically show you guys that I'm supposed to close it. I don't think I closed it just yet. So here I have my straps that I will be using basically for my ties in the middle. I cut 1/2 inch on fold, or 1 1/4 inch actually, and I'm going ahead to just snip the edge as so, and then I will sew right sides together, but not yet. Now I'm going to cut out my sleeves. So for this, I just made it 10 inches long, and I'm going to make it very wide, basically like almost double or about double my normal round sleeve, and I'm just going to create a very large sleeve cap. So now I'm just drawing the rectangle, 10.5 inches wide I believe, and I'm going 6 inches down, and from there I'll connect the top to that 6-inch point. Basically just create a very wide sleeve cap, because we're going to gather this, so yeah, the wider it is, the more you can gather. So now I'm going in to cut out the facing, or rather the elastic channel for the top, and I'm just going to make that 1 inch long. So yeah, I have my elastic channel and my sleeve. I cut 2 of that, and now I'm finally going into sew right sides together of the ties. And yeah, I struggled. Turning this wasn't funny, guys. I think because it was like a closed-ended tie, I couldn't use a pin. Yeah, basically I struggled and my hands hurt a lot, but I did it finally. So now I'm going ahead to join right sides together of the elastic channel to the sleeve cap, and again I'm pinning it together because pins are your best friends. Use them. I mean, you bought them already, so yeah, just sew right sides together and then turn it that way, as you guys can see me doing, because basically we are trying to create a channel. So we'll go ahead and just close it off as so to create that channel. So now for the lower part, I just folded it over twice. I'm using a very tiny elastic band, so it works. And now I'm going ahead to insert my elastic band, the usual, using a safety pin. I mean, we've been through this 1,000 times, yeah, so I'm not going to talk too much. And I'm doing the same thing for the lower part. I said I wasn't going to talk too much. Okay, so when you're done, go ahead and just secure your elastic in place and then sew right sides together, which is what I'm doing now. So now remember that vent that we left open? Yeah, I had not closed it. So I went ahead and loosened part of that upper part, because now I'm going to go in, insert my rope, and basically just do what I should have done in the beginning, sandwich the rope, but it doesn't matter, I'm doing it now. So that's it, it's all not all done, the rope part is done, and now I'm just going ahead to attach my sleeves. So I basically just pin the side seam of my sleeve to the side seam of my body, and what I'm going to do is just sew about 2 inches towards the front and about 1.5 inch towards the back. So I think that is the last piece of this puzzle. Or not yet, I still have to close my vent. So now I'm finally going in to close the vent, but it has been very useful. So this is the end result. I really love this outfit and I'm looking forward to summer because I plan on rocking this outfit. Honestly, like, it is so cute and you can wear it as an off shoulder, as you guys can see me doing here. And yeah, it's just really nice. I have the large ties in front to cover my boobies, so I'm not so worried. But yeah, that's it guys. I will see you in my next video.